Carrie with Canary Quilts, and this is week 3. Yeah, week 3 of our Witch's Night Out quilt along. This is a pattern by It's So Emma, and I am really enjoying this pattern. It's a very well written pattern, and there's just a lot of things I like about this pattern. But a lot of you are following along, and I do really appreciate that. And this week we've got 2 more pumpkins to add to our quilt. We have the triangular pumpkin and the chain pumpkin. And we're getting to the point where these are going to take a little bit longer to put together. It looks like we're just progressively getting more involved in our sewing for these pumpkins, which is fine. It's been a lot of fun. I love picking out colors because I'm using my scraps, my Halloween scraps, which I have a ton of. So I love picking out colors for all of these. So you'll see that I went very non-traditional with my blocks this week. And we have our icon at the end. And our icon is probably the easiest one to put together this week. So I'm going to walk you through how I put these together and give you some tips on how I put them together and how I remember to do things and organize myself. And I hope that that helps you when you're putting this together. But let me know in the comments below if you're doing this quilt. So I've had a few people tell me they did it last year, and I've got a few people saying they're quilting along this year, and it's been a lot of fun. So I think I need to check my schedule, but I think we've got a week, one more week of pumpkins and an icon, and then we'll take a week off and then we'll put it together. So it'll give us all time to catch up and be ready to have our Halloween quilt put together. It's going to be so much fun. But anyway, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and you can do this and all the other fun stuff we got going on. At the end of this week, I'm going to be putting together the Roadside Harvest quilt along we're doing. I don't have any of that up here, but I will have links down below if you want to check that out. And what else? Oh, Fat Quarter Shop has this free quilt along they're doing for Christmas. It's called Evergreen. I have links to that down below, and it looks like we're building a Christmas tree row by row, and that is a free pattern, so you can go grab that one. And our 2023 Designer Block of the Month, which is Fat Quarter Shop exclusive. I just put up my second block for that. So, but for the most part, I've just got all this up here, and we're getting close that we're going to have to start cutting pieces and putting this together. So exciting! Let's get started on our blocks. Alright, 3rd week of Witch's Night Out, and we are starting, we have 2 different pumpkins this week. We have the, let's see right here, triangular pumpkin, which is half square triangles, and I put one together this week before I actually show you guys, so learning. Anyway, the other one we're doing is this one. What is that called? The chain? I think it's called the chain. Yep, it's called the chained pumpkin block. So there's 3 of these, and there's 2 of these. And we're doing the bat. So I looked ahead at the bat, and it doesn't look too hard. So I'm going to start with this one. This one isn't hard per se. It's just a bunch of half square triangles. But you've got to be mindful of your corners. So that's about it. Now, I'm using 4 different fabrics. 4 different color schemes, I guess. So they have you only cut 4 Bs, which are going to be used here and here. But because I'm using 4 different color schemes, I need 8 of these. And you'll end up with 2 extra from each set here. So I'll have 8 extra half square triangles. That's about it. So that's where B is used, is in these corners. Instead of putting these 2 together, you're going to put a background on one of these and one of these. C is used here. So you make a half square triangle and then you put C here, and that gives you that rounded corner. And down here, same thing. And then over here, you basically have a print and a solid that you're working with. So that's how I went. I went with a print and solid. Those read solid to me. And then your stem is real easy. You put 2, you sandwich the F in between 2 A's. And I'm going with stripe this week. So I put one together so I can figure out how to do it and how to put it together and what to think about and what to do. So I am going to show you how to put the rest of them together. All right, so most of this is going to be you just make a bunch of half square triangles, and then you've got to keep track of how you're ironing everything and your corners. So that's basically what we're doing here. It does take some time to put these together. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take our B and we want to pair it with a print and a solid. We'll do the stems later. And these are going to be the half square triangles that I showed you here and here. So that's the first thing we want to do. And I'm going to do it with all my colors because my colors are so different that I'm not going to get them mixed up. And you're like, yeah, right, we watched you last week. You got mixed up. I think I've got it this week. So let's make some half square triangles out of all of these, a print and a solid. And you know how to make half square triangles. We need to put a diagonal down the middle of our B piece and then sew a seam on each side of it that's 1/4 of an inch away, trim and iron towards the print. All right, there's my remaining B pieces paired with one of the prints and one of the solids from each of my colors. And that's all we need is one of each. So you'll have extra half square triangles. What we made were these corners right here. So we only need one of each. All right, next thing we do, we make all of these half square triangles. Very simple. You just pair these two together, draw your line, your diagonal on one of them, and do the exact same thing. Sew a seam 1/4 of an inch on each side of that diagonal, and then trim it and iron towards the print. I'm going to do all of these, and that is 36 half square triangles I got to do. So I'll be a while. I'll see you tomorrow. But anyway, I'm going to get these done, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the next thing to do before we start putting our block together. All right, I finished all my half square triangles. Woo-wee! I need a massage in my neck right now. That took a little bit of time. All right, so what we need to build are these two corners. And you can see that there is a half square triangle in each of these, but they're put on a little different. So what I've done is I've taken my C, this is my C piece, marked a diagonal on all of them, and then I put an X on one side because I want to, as I'm building it, I want to know which side I'm going to cut off and which side I'm going to keep. So X is cut off, not X is keep. So let's just start here. We need a half square triangle, and we need to keep the seam here. So we want to make our diagonal go across the seam. So what I need to do is keep one that has the print on the right, and then I need to keep one that has the print on the left. So if I do that, I'm going to pull it back and I will have the print on the right, and when I pull it back, I'll have the print on the left. So if I turn this around, you can see that this is the corner that's like this one, the bottom right, and then this one is like this corner in the upper left. Got that? So I'm putting an X so I can cut it off so I know which side. So I need to keep print on the left and print on the right like that. So we're going to go and we're going to sew on this line, and then we're going to trim on the side of the X 1/4 of an inch away from that seam, and then iron it open. We're ironing this one open, but that's what our block will eventually look like. All right, So it's important, I think, to make sure, because I was having a hard time when I was doing it before. I was trying to put these together and I'm like, oh, you know, and I'm twisting them. I'm like, which side do I keep? This way, when I put the X first, I know which side to keep and which side I'm not going to keep. So remember to sew on the line this time, not away from it. And I'm going to get my other one set up to go exactly the same way as this, and then I'll show you what they look like when they're done. There's all our specialty pieces. These are our 4 corners for each of my colors. You may be doing it all the same color, but that's what mine look like. And that's what these 4 corners look like in this one. All right, now we are on to building this. So what I did was I built the top, let's go this way, the top and the bottom row first. So I made sure I got my corners correct, because these are just all half square triangles sewn together, these middle rows. So I built the top and bottom ones first. So let's start, let's just look at mine and let's start there. So we have a print and a solid in the corner. Print on the bottom, solid on the side. Half square triangle. And we've got 4 of these. And then we need our print over here like that. And then our bottom row, we need this with the print up here, or the solid up here, and then the print just like up here. 4 of these. And then our other corner like this. So I think it's really important to get these rows done first so that you have the corners and everything in the correct position, and then the rest of it becomes easier. So I'm just going to layer these and do all 3 at once. Solid. All right, so from here we need to put our rows together, and the top row is going to get ironed always to the right. So I guess you could look at it as you're always ironing towards the print side of the seam. Down here is the same way, but it's going to be this way. Sorry, it's not the same way. It's going to be ironed towards the solid of the seam. So this way and this way. And then the middle rows will be the same way. Okay, I'm going to get these sewn together and I'm going to get them ironed this way, and then we can work on the middle rows. All right, there's my top and bottom rows done for each of my colorways. And it really helped me a lot to know that when I was working in the top row to iron towards the print, and when I was working in the bottom row to iron towards the solid. That helped me. I don't know if it'll help you or not. Let me know how you remember which way to iron your rows like that, but that helped me. So now we're on to putting all of these together for the center rows right here. Okay, now that we have our top and bottom rows done, let's just take this one for example. We need to just put together the rest of our half square triangles in the next row. So you can lay them out, or if you can remember how they go together, you can just start putting them together. But we're going to need 2 rows of 6, just like this. So what I've been doing is just doing pairs. Pick them up, put them together in pairs, and then I'll have 6 pairs. And then I put the pairs together until I get 2 rows. So that's pretty easy. Just make sure you're getting them, you're sewing the correct sides together. That's all you need to remember on this one. And when you're done, one of them needs to be sewn to the right and one of them needs to be sewn to the left. So there's that to keep track of. And like I was saying, I was using the one row was printed fabric I was ironing towards, and the other one was solid fabrics I was ironing towards. So I'm going to get all my rows done and then we can put our pumpkins together. So here's my pairs sewn together, and what I'm going to do is put them in piles of 3 so that I know one pile I'm going to be ironing towards the print and one pile I'm going to be ironing towards the solid. So that's how I'm doing it at my ironing board. All right, I got all my center rows done, and I've lined them up so that I have the top and bottom rows in the right spot, and then my center rows have opposing seams next to each other. So all we're going to do now is put our rows together, nest these seams, make sure they line up, and we're always going to iron towards the bottom of the pumpkin. I'm going to sandwich my F with my A's to make my stem unit, and then I'm going to add that to the top of my pumpkin, and we're going to iron towards the stem unit. So, all right, there's my finished triangular pumpkins is what she calls them. I'm wondering what you think of my bold choices for my pumpkins. I didn't go all orange, and these two really have contrasting colors. Personally, I like it. I really like it a lot, and I'm going to really like it in my quilt, but it may not be for everybody. So that's how those are put together. Next up, I've already got the pieces cut for my next block, and I went ahead and put one together so that I knew what I was doing again. And I'm glad I did, because I made a mistake, and I'll let you know where that was. I mean, it was fixable, it wasn't a problem, but sometimes I read into a pattern what I want it to say, and that's not the way it works. Anyway, this is a puzzle to put together, so, I mean, these are going to be obviously my pumpkin pieces. These are my stem pieces. And this is going to be my star pieces, and then these are going to be all my chains out here. So what we do first is we start with the star unit. So let me get set up I'll get set up and get the pieces for all the star units. For the star unit. Oh, I think I need more coffee. All right, you got Future Carry here because I forgot to press play or record at this point. But this is important, I think, especially if you're like me, and sometimes I am looking at it going, oh, I need flying geese. And we have more G's than just the two we need. So the first time I grabbed all my G's and made flying geese. Well, that's not how it works. You need your N's, you need your 2 of your G's, and you need 2 D's. And you can see that G and D are not the same size. So to my surprise, when I did it the first time, none of it fit. So 2 G's, 2 D's, not the same size. Our N's are going to be our flying geese corners, flying geese corners. So G is going to be, you're going to be putting them in this corner, and you can see that they're not as long as the piece below, as the base. So that means that we're going to have a floating star, which I like. I like that floating star. And then the D, you're going to take the longer side, which is going to be that side, and you're going to put it here also. So you'll have a little bit longer here. So that's how you can tell. You'll need to draw a line on the back of your ends, and then just like with all these flying geese, you'll sew on the line, trim 1/4 of an inch, and iron towards the seam. So that's how they're going to go together. All right, here's my flying geese, and here's my layout for the star. So the flying geese with the D base is on the side right here, and the flying geese with the G base are up here. And then we have our H's, which aren't square, so the long edge is up here, and the short edge is going against the flying geese. So that's why this flying goose right here has the bigger base than this one. I like it though. I like that floating star. So at this point we have a 9 patch. We're going to put it together in rows, and we're always going to iron towards the solid patches in our 9 patch. So I'm just going to get this put together, show you what it looks like, and we'll move on to some more building blocks we got to make. There's my center star. It just won't lay flat right now. So that's what we built. I like it. I like how it turned out. So the next thing we're going to build are some building blocks. We're going to build this section right here. There's 2 of them. And then these 2 sections right here. So for that we need L, I, F, J, K, G. So K and G are going to go in one, F and J are going to go in one, and then I and L are going to go in both of them. So let's build this, the side of our, right here, the side of our star first. So let me get it laid out. All right, so here's the side of our star unit. We're just gonna put all these pieces together in rows, iron towards the orange in my case, and then we're gonna iron towards the center when we put the rows together. Now I'm gonna get this section put together. All right, so here's that section put together here, and the same thing goes here where we're going to iron towards the orange, and then we're gonna iron away from the center when we put it together. So not too hard. This is how it gets laid out. These are the places it goes. So I'm gonna get these done, and then we start to put this thing together. All right, there's the two sections I just put together. Last building block we need to make is the top and bottom of our pumpkin here. So you're gonna take your remaining I and L's and then put your E in the middle. And we're always ironing towards the orange here. All right, there's our last building block. So we start building this thing out. So I'm going to start with the center here with the star, and these two units go on each side of our star. These two go like that, and then our C's are going to go on the sides of these longer units. And then the last building block we made was this, and that's going to go along the top and the bottom. All right, so if we put these two together, we iron towards the patches. Not if, when. When we put these two together, we iron towards these patches, which means when we put these together, we're going to iron towards the star. Pretty simple. And then when we put all of our rows together, these seams will match, and this seam will match up here. I would suggest starting here, getting these built, iron towards the patches, then go to the center, iron towards the star, and then build this way. And we're always ironing away from this middle row. All right, there's my finished chained blocks. Those look pretty cool. I went with the darker chain and star than the light ones she shows in the pattern, and I like it. That's gonna look neat. And look at all those little eyeballs in the stem. Super cute. All right, now we're on to the bat. And there isn't a lot of pieces with the bat. So I put my pieces how they're gonna be put together here. I think it's easier, but we're gonna have two different color blacks, and that's gonna be used in the wings. So dark black and a lighter black, I guess. And these are the wings. This is the head and the ears. So what we've got here is C and H are going to get put together for the ears. D is going to round out the bottom of the head, and then C or E is going to just go down here to kind of give make the head stand out. And then G and I are the wings, and we're going to use B to give us the wing points, and then A is going to give us all our corners. That's about all there is to this. So let me get set up to start making this. All right, there's all my pieces. Here's the three dark pieces that had the corners all in the same way, and the other corners are down here, and same with the light blacks. So it makes the left wing and it makes the right wing, and this is how you lay them out. So from here, we're just going to sew these things together, and we're going to iron all our seams open. And we'll have the wings done. And then we'll add our A's onto the upper corners to round out the top of the wing. All right, there's my bat wings that have been rounded off on the corners. So we want to start working on the ears and the face. So we need C and H. And our H's are going to go in both the corners, or both sides of the C. And we're going to sew diagonal line from the corner down to here, and from this corner down to here in the middle. And then we want to take F and D, mark our D's, and put them down here in the corner. Sew on both of these, sew on the line, trim 1/4 of an inch, and iron to the corner. All right, here's my head with the stitch and flips down here, I guess. And here's my ears. And now we take our last piece, the E piece, and we're going to add it to the bottom down here. And we'll add the ears, and we're always going to be ironing. We'll iron towards the face, and then we're going to iron towards the bottom. So the only thing left to do is to sandwich our face in between the wings, and we're going to iron towards the wings, and then our little bat's going to be done. That wasn't very long, and that wasn't very hard at all. That corner won't stay down. All right, let's see what it looks like. All right, there's our cute little bat. I really like how that turned out. That little spider in the middle of his face. Almost looks like a cat nose. But anyway, this is all we did today. It's a little more intensive today. It took a little bit longer. I kind of expected that as we went along. And I think I made a mistake in the schedule where next week we're doing the mosaic pumpkins and the hat. And then I think I duplicated pumpkins for the next week. So maybe we'll take the following week after that off and just have 2 weeks to gather all our stuff up if you haven't finished it up. That'll give you some extra time, and then we'll put the whole thing together. It's going to be super cute. So if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, notification bell. You get notified when we finish this up or any other content I have going on here. We've got some more Halloween stuff coming up. A Tula Pink coming up, so it's gonna be fun. And I do unboxings, which is a lot of fun to share my fabrics. I will see you next week. Bye.